We have heard from a few students that are having a difficult time getting a hold of their loan servicer.
Following a 5-year pause, the federal government resumes collections on student loans. What you need to know.
70s and sunshine dominate the forecast this week. We're talking a very spring-like outlook.
This is just about getting information for the government.
The Central Valley School Board says it's caught between following federal mandates or state law when it comes to transgender athletes. Tonight, the action they decided to take. Good evening and thank you for joining us for the KREM 2 Night Report. I'm Mark Hanrahan. New tonight, the Central Valley School District voted to send a federal civil rights complaint against the state for what members say are conflicting policies on transgender student athletes participating in school sports. KREM 2's Connor McAvoy joining us live in the newsroom tonight after attending the virtual meeting. Connor, what's at stake here?
Well, this all comes from what district members say are conflicting powers at be. They say state guidelines on transgender student athletes directly go against federal guidelines, and no matter who they side with, district funding is at risk.
We've been trying to do this for over a month.
Central Valley Board member Anise Barker emphasizes what she says is both an ongoing and urgent need to send a written complaint against the Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction and the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association, or WIAA. The complaint accuses the state of violating protections for student athletes by allowing transgender athletes to compete in sports based on the sex they identify as. Some members say this goes against a federal law protecting from sex-based discrimination in public schools, known as Title IX.
They are competing for second place instead of first because there is a male on their starting line. We have got to protect these girls.
Barker wrote the first of multiple drafts of the complaint addressed to the Office of Civil Rights and the U.S. Department of Education. It argues OSPI and WIAA are going against federal policies by not banning transgender athletes from competing in sports for the sex they weren't assigned at birth. They worry that could ruin $12.8 million in federal funding the district has for the 2024-25 school year. But the decision was met with some opposition.
My great disappointment that we as a school board are not able to find some kind of an alternative to a ban.
Board member Cynthia McMullen spoke against sending the complaint, saying the people she's worried about are different.
It is, in fact, a challenge against students and family members in our community who have self-identified as trans or, in this particular case, trans.
The board ultimately voted 3-2 in favor of sending 2 drafts of the letter, both with similar language. School Board President Stephanie Jordan says while opinions across the board vary, she's relieved the vote went through simply to start a conversation on whose rules to follow.
No one is saying break the law. No one's even saying change policy, but we're bringing this to everyone's attention. Something that I have realized is that
District members say the loss of that funding would impact students and the community. They're hoping a solution can be made by sending both drafts of the letter. They say they'll both be emailed and mailed to those offices. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
Thank you very much. With funding for Washington school districts potentially on the line, we wanted to find out how much money is at stake. In an effort to bring you more to every story, KREM 2's Amanda Rowley dug through the budget for this school year and breaks down the impact of state versus federal dollars in our area school districts.
These are the totals for each school district's estimated revenue from state and federal resources. Districts won't have the actual total until the end of the school year. If school districts violate state or federal laws, this is how much they would lose. This year, Spokane Public Schools is estimated to receive more than $415 million from the state and $50 million in federal funding. Central Valley School District estimates nearly $14 million in federal dollars. Another way to look at this is the percentage of these revenue sources. For the most part, state dollars make up the largest amount of school district funding. Meanwhile, federal dollars make up between 5 to 8% of projected revenue. While the federal government funds a smaller portion of these school district budgets, those dollars fund impactful programs. Across the board, most of the federal revenue funds special education programs, such as the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. It's a federal law guaranteeing free and appropriate education for children with disabilities, ensuring they receive special education services. Some federal dollars also fund Title I, II, and III programs, which support struggling students, especially in low-income areas, trains trains teaching staff, and supports immigrant students in their English language development.
That was Amanda Rowley reporting. For now, Washington school districts are actively seeking guidance on which directive to follow to ensure they still receive both state and federal funding. All right, let's talk weather now on this Monday evening. Want to get outside right now to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. Jeremy, it's a beautiful day today, and it sounds like we have more in store for the week.
Oh man, every day gets better and better from here. Seriously, even the coldest day we have in the next 7 isn't as cold as we were today. We really can't call today cold. We still sit in the 50s across the region, but we're going to fall back down into the 40s. Everybody stays above freezing tonight, and here in Spokane, we are going to be in the 40s. Far cry from the 36 we woke up to earlier this morning. Nothing in the atmosphere overhead. In fact, if you zoom on out, you can find a little bit of snow over in Montana. Seriously, places like Bozeman got a fresh coating today. A ridge of high pressure building over the top of us keeps our storm at bay, but we are still looking at some of the impacts of that later this week. It's not tomorrow. It's not Wednesday for the most part. Wednesday afternoon, we'll see some clouds build, and late Wednesday night or early Thursday morning, however you want to look at it, we have a potential for showers moving through. Moves through quickly, and if you go to bed at, say, 10, 11 o'clock at night, you won't notice the rain if you don't wake up until 2 o'clock in the morning. It's that quick. Moves in, moves out, and it's back to sunshine. 74 tomorrow, 78 Wednesday, cooler Thursday, but even then, we're much warmer than we were today. Mark?
All right, Jeremy, sounds good. We'll check back in with you later in the show. Time for our night beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. The sound of bagpipes echoed through the streets of Coeur d'Alene this morning as officers and the community gathered to mark 10 years since the death of Sergeant Greg Moore. He was shot and killed while on patrol in 2015, leaving behind a wife and 2 kids. The man who shot Moore is serving a life sentence. Sergeant Moore is the only Coeur d'Alene officer killed in the line of duty. Today, Northern Quest Resort and Casino held a day of awareness and remembrance for missing and murdered Indigenous people. According to the Kalispel tribal leaders, Washington State has more than 110 missing Native American persons, with many originating from the eastern half of the state. The event featured a hallway with red dresses on display to symbolize missing and murdered Indigenous women. And we have some final numbers for this year's Bloomsday Run. A total of 35,169 people signed up for the race. 2,096 entered finish times for the virtual race, and 30,050 people crossed the finish line in person. All right, if you are running the race virtually, you have until tomorrow to get your times in. And that's it for your Night Beat. For more information on any of these stories, just head to our website, KREM.com. All right, don't go to bed just yet. Coming up, national parks feeling the heat ahead of summer tourism, how they are preparing for an unpredictable turnout as Trump tariffs push Canadians away.
It can be overwhelming. There's a lot of emotions tied up with money and with debt and with borrowing.
But first, after a 5-year pause, student loan collections picked back up today. The impact that is going to have if you default. Coming up on KREM 2 News.